Hello, and welcome to Book 3, Chapter 19 of You Should Be Reading. This week, I'd like to talk to you about Jam by Yahtzee Croshaw. Now, this is the second book that he wrote. It is basically an apocalyptic scenario type deal set in Brisbane, Australia, and it follows all the hallmarks of his usual work. If you've read World, if you've watched any of him on Zero Punctuation, any of that, it's got that dry British humor he's so well known for. But Jam is interesting because it takes an almost implausible scenario that the continent of Australia is covered with man-eating jam, corrosive acidic jam, kind of like, say hi to Bootsy, kind of like a gelatinous cube or an ooze from Dungeons and Dragons. And it slouches around and eats people, anyone that gets close to it. Any flesh just dissolves it in itself and grows bigger. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it starts off right in the middle of the apocalypse. Your main character, who the book is told from his perspective, I think his name is Travis, I'm not 100% sure. It's been a little while since I've read it. He wakes up, heads downstairs with a buddy of his, just in time to see his buddy slide down the banister and land in the jam, which eats him. And then he goes back upstairs and tries not to panic. Things kind of go from there. As you can see on the cover, you've got a spider, you've got the city outlined in red, dripping like it's dripping with jam. It is amusing as a book. It is very well written. Like I said, it's got that dry humor to it. There's even a couple of Americans, a bit of a conspiracy going on, and a little bit of a callback back to his first book, World, because there's a character in here that I believe works at the company that created the game world that World takes place in. Kind of interesting. I quite enjoy that little tip of the cap to what he's written before. But it kind of goes from there as you get these two guys who share an apartment, or possibly are neighbors, meeting up with the others that are from their building that are still alive, and they decide to brave this post-apocalyptic strawberry-scented world that they find themselves in, trying to find other survivors. And they do. There are people who have survived. But it is the most bizarre, twisted type of survival that you've ever seen. Because everybody's kind of trapped in the buildings. They can't get out. Except some of them have found a way to. And they have really bizarre cultures just springing up like almost at random, because this group of people happen to be trapped in a mall, so they get this whole tyrannical lord collective. There's a bunch of people trapped in an office building, so now they're running it like it's a corporation, only it's a corporation mixed with jungle native aesthetics almost. It is just an absolute riot from start to finish. I enjoyed it immensely, and there's a lot of taking things to absurdity levels. But, but, because of all that, and because of the fact that your disbelief, that your suspension of disbelief, you suspend that to the point where you buy into the fact that jam could possibly be a threat to humanity. In this case, you buy into that concept. And once you bought into that concept, everything else that happens is a very natural progression of the way things move. And I quite enjoy it. I highly recommend this book to you. If you liked World, if you like British writing in general, with that type of dry humor and wit going on, this is a book that I think you will enjoy. What else is there to say? I hope Mr. Croshaw writes some more, possibly, possibly, if he could write a Lovecraftian storybook based off of his game that he's got come out, Consuming Shadow, I think it is. That could be interesting to see. So I'm going to leave this video here. Uh, as always, if you like what I'm doing, please give that like button a tap. Give that subscribe button a tap if you haven't already, so you can be kept apprised of when I put new videos out. Try to put out something once a week, usually a couple videos if I can, maybe more. You never know. And throw a comment in that comment section. I'd like to get a discussion. Have you read Jam? Have you read any of Yahtzee Crowshaw's work? Did you like his stuff? What do you think about the book? What do you think about the characters? Get a discussion going. I'd like to talk to some people. So yes, I'm going to leave it there. And for now, remember, you should be reading Jam by Yahtzee Croshaw. And I'll see you next week.